everyone. Welcome to Any Way You Slice It. I am Jason Flom. Forget the hearse kids will never die. It's Peter Tejan. If you haven't guessed, it's our AC/DC episode. We're going to rank the albums. We're going to talk about AC/DC because we love them. You probably do too since you tuned in. So thank you for tuning in, by the way. Subscribe. Plenty of album break-ins to come. Album deep dives, probably AC/DC. And plenty of stuff in our past as well. A lot of Kiss albums we've reviewed. Things like that. You want to get right into it? AC/DC? Well, first of all, how did you get into AC/DC, Peter? Tell us. How did it all begin for you?
It was all over the radio. You know what I mean? By the time I really started listening to radio by myself and figuring out what stations I liked, it was probably 82, 83. And they were huge at that time. Because it was like Highway to Hell, Back in Black, Dirty Deeds, and then all the way up until like 74 Jailbreak. It's just like, for those about to rock, they had like 6 albums in like, I don't know, 4 years or something. It was crazy. And they're all huge. So, the first album that I ever really got was on cassette. And this is like late 83. My birthday would be September 83. And I had Pyromania on vinyl. I had a few things.
Quiet Riot?
I had the 7-inch of that.
Everybody had Quiet Riot in 83.
But this is how old that I actually am. I had a record player, but I didn't have a cassette deck yet. These days, that's considered pretty damn old, I think. So I wanted a cassette. I wanted a boombox. I wanted something square that had some low end, and I really wanted some heavy metal, hard rock cassettes. And for my birthday, I got this weird little blue plastic. It was made by Realistic, and the tape went like slid in the side or the top, but it stuck out a little bit, and it sounded like crap. And they just didn't probably realize that how much I was really getting into music. So they kind of got, well, we'll get in this. It's $30 or whatever, instead of like the boom box, with detachable speakers and other thing I wanted. And at the time I was like, it's cool.
Detachable speakers.
We had a little picnic table on the side of the house, and I had my Legos out there in the summer, and I remember having that little boom box out there. It wasn't a boom box, it was a cassette player with one speaker. It sounded pretty distorted, but I lived with it. So I got that, and I got Duran Duran Rio, Synchronicity, and Highway to Hell. Ooh. And these are the tapes, the 3 tapes my grandma or my mom helped my grandma pick. And here's AC/DC, with the horns and the devil tail and all of it. So yeah. I was like, they did good, Mm-hmm. So that's it. So that was the first actual one. It was kind of a letdown because I didn't get a big, awesome boombox. But those were the first 3 cassettes that they gave me. And my dad he loved AC/DC. And he borrowed the Highway to Hell tape and listened to it on the way to and from work for a year, and just ruined it, wore it out. So I really never even got to hear the tape much.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And then, later on you start buying albums and you're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Then after that on vinyl I got Back in Black and
yeah.
And it's about to rock.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Very similar to you. Peter and I grew up 5 or 6 miles from each other without knowing each other. Yeah. So we listened to the same radio stations. KISW, KZOK. Those stations loved AC/DC. Like literally every hour you'd hear a deep cut maybe, or of course like, your Back in Blacks or your For Those About to Rock. But yeah, so I grew up hearing these songs.
It was AC/DC, Van Halen, Scorpions.
And Zeppelin.
Those were the...
Yeah. So these songs, and not even the big hits, songs like Down Payment Blues, or Riff Raff. I knew these songs like when I was 10. Mm-hmm. And you fall in love with them because they're so damn good, Later on, when you get older and you start buying albums, yeah, AC/DC's a go-to, Yeah. Highway to Hell, you mentioned, that was a big one. Back in Black, of course, my neighbor friend Tim had that, and For Those About to Rock, of course, and he had Flick of the Switch as well. Those were huge for us. But yeah, they're just, if you like rock and roll, if you hard rock, and you don't like AC/DC, something's wrong with you. I mean, they're
You cray.
you're cray cray.
I mean, God, people talk about them being repetitious and kinda, but like Philip Glass is repetitious, Bach is repetitious. You know what I mean? Mozart, you know it right away when you hear it. You know that isn't Vivaldi or whoever. You know it. Zeppelin, you know what I mean? They all have certain grooves and keys they write things in and certain chords they go for. You know.
Somebody once asked Angus Young, they said, what do you say to people who say you've made the same album for 11 albums in a row now?
He agreed.
He said, that's wrong. It's 12 albums. Okay, so they own up to it. They know that they're, for lack of a better term, a one-trick pony.
They know what they're trying to do.
And they do it well.
They know what they're good at.
And they do it well. With that said, I will say there is a difference between the Bon Scott stuff and especially the Mutt Lange / Brian Johnson stuff. It became more of a metal band, I think, for a little bit there.
Everybody did, thank God. Kiss
in the early
did.
80s.
Yeah, everybody did.
So, yeah, there's a slight difference, but you still got that same heavy rhythm guitar going from Malcolm and Angus's leads, and sexual innuendos in the lyrics and things like that, But AC/DC, alternating current, direct current. No, it's not After Christ Devil Comes or whatever you've heard. They got the name from the back of Angus and Malcolm's sister's sewing machine. AC/DC.
And it sounded cool.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of, plays off that name, like High Voltage, Power Rage.
It's so cool that's their world. It really gives them something to go on. Anything that's electric.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cool,
And rock and roll's electric, and it should be fun, and they make it fun. The guy dresses up like a schoolboy, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
It's fun, energetic music, and if you don't like him, then first of all, if you don't like him, you're probably not watching this. So
yeah, you hate them, you hate us.
Yeah.
They recorded the same album over and over, which I don't really agree with. I mean,
Angus does though.
Yeah, but he's joking. I mean,
he's having fun with it.
Back in Black is not High Voltage.
No.
Not equally good and everything. It's just different, But there are similarities of riffs and things that they do. But I just like that they knew what they wanted to do, and they never really did. The closest to ever trying to do an Elder was maybe Fly on the Wall, kinda. It's sort of a little too much thought into the story, maybe. When they could have just probably rocked.
Yeah.
But they never really did that to a large degree, anyway. They never did an Elder or something they regret.
They've always stayed true to what they believe in.
Yeah, and know what they do good.
Yeah. Yeah, and give them credit for that.
And it's killer.
Yeah.
They're one of my top 10 bands that if I see a book, I'll buy it. If I see a cool vintage thing, I'll pick it up. If they come out with a whole new line of remasters, I'm buying it. Just to get more info and just stuff. I just love it. If anybody deserves more money because they made an album a little tiny bit louder and put some more pictures in it, a band that I love like this, yeah, take my money. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, exactly the same as him. Yeah, great fucking rock and roll band.
Yeah,
great band.
So having said that, how great they are. What's your worst album, Jason? Why don't you start?
Oh, you want to? Okay, so the ranking. So let's explain something really quick. We're not doing all the albums. We're cutting it off at Razor's Edge because it would be a disservice to you people if we ranked the post Razor's Edge
because
stuff. We're not that familiar with it.
The reason, let's be honest, we don't really think it's on this level.
With that said, there's good stuff on those albums.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I remember, I can't even think of Stiff Upper Lips, a good song. There's good songs.
Yeah, yeah, there's some good stuff there. But This Is My World, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and we did everything up to Razor's Edge because that album's pretty darn good.
We are including Who Made Who, Jailbreak 74, the EP, and the live album, If You Want Blood.
Oh, I like that live album better than some of the studio ones, so I really wanted to include that. So.
Because, hey, we're literally including everything they released up until, and including Razor's Edge.
Yeah, their albums.
And we're aware there was a live album recorded on the Razor's Edge tour, which we're not including.
AC/DC Live?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for me, no reason to really include it. I mean, I have it, but...
If you want to have fun and act like we ranked all their albums, the 4 or 5 albums we're not ranking would be the bottom 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's like, you know...
Okay. So we're gonna... So we have, what, 14 we're doing, right? So you asked me to start.
Go for it.
And so number 14...
Yes? What are you hating on?
So this here's the amazing thing. These 14 albums are within a 15-year span, 75 through 1990.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're starting off in 1988 with Blow Up Your Video.
Now, of course, we're doing American versions, of course.
Oh, yeah, American versions.
74 Jailbreak wouldn't have been its own thing, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. This album has some good stuff. It's just not my favorite one. Heat Seeker's great. A great song. I remember that video being all over MTV.
Mm-hmm.
There's good songs on this album. But,
Okay.
yeah, it's from 1988, Blow Up Your Video is my last choice. And, you know, it doesn't mean I think it sucks.
So mine's also, that's also, I think they raised it back up a little bit with Razor's Edge. But Blow Up Your Video, it's also, you know, like, it's pretty good. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. It was produced by Vanda and Young, who, if you know anything about AC/DC, they produced everything up till, I think, Highway to Hell was the last one, right?
Power Rage. No, Highway to Hell's Mutt Lange.
Oh,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything up to Power Rage.
Yeah.
So Blow Up Your Video is the last on our list. So I guess I'm next. Razor's Edge is number 13.
Razor's Edge is number 13 for me.
Okay, we're just gonna...
Yeah. And it's a good album.
Yeah.
And it's produced by, what's his name? They did, what, Psycho Circus, right?
Oh, Bruce Fairbairn.
Yeah. Fairbairn.
No, it was a comeback album is what it was, you know. Money Talks. And Thunderstruck, to this day, look up AC/DC on YouTube, their most viewed video, Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
It was all over MTV, when MTV played videos.
And there is a few deep tracks that are really good, too.
Yeah.
For me, not every song is perfect, but most of the album is really good.
I will say my least favorite AC/DC song is on this album. Mistress for Christmas, really?
Yeah.
That thing's terrible.
Exactly. You know, and his voice is starting to show, you know, your voice, that instrument, your voice, made of flesh and bone. I mean, it only lasts so long, you know, so. It's amazing that he could do what he did with his voice, even for 2 or 3 albums, I think, you know.
No, here's the amazing thing.
What he did with his voice.
Here's the amazing thing. Here we are, 34 years after that came out, and he's still touring with that voice.
Not sound like it to
But
me.
he did have voice problems. That's why Axl took over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, when you hear him on Back in Black, Flick, and all those albums, he is sounding. He's right in the zone. You know, that's the Brian Johnson.
It's like him and the guy from Nazareth and stuff. How can you keep that up?
They have similar voices
for 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Cafferty. So that's his number 13 as well. My number 12 is Fly on the Wall. Now, let me say this.
My number 12 is Fly on the Wall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We did not go over this together.
He would not. I was saying, hey, you don't want to know what my number... Nope, he didn't want to know anything.
When I walked in, I said, I don't want to know your list.
Hey, Jason, you want to know what my least... Nope. So
Yeah.
anyway, these all... Yeah.
I even slapped him at one point. He was like, well, my favorite is, and I was like, boom.
My friend had this, and I was so jealous because it looked so cool. And I had Flick. And I love Flick. But I always wanted this because he had this on vinyl and I had Flick on vinyl. And I thought, man, I really want that Fly on the Wall. I wonder if I can trade him some, you know, Rambo knife and some shit for or whatever. And he would never get rid of it.
That's ironic you said Rambo knife because there's a song called First Blood.
Oh, yeah. But now I'm glad that I was the one that got Flick of the Switch and he got...
You got the Rambo
for our birthdays or whatever.
Flick of the Switch. Or, excuse me, Fly on the Wall.
My friend Rob, by the way.
Shalansky?
No, this is Rob Zanassi. I should send him a link for this.
Yeah. Okay. Atomic Outlaws, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so hi Rob. Yeah, send him the link to this. So let's call him out.
Yeah.
Fly on the Wall.
It's still valid. I'll trade you a Rambo knife, Superman comic, and some gummy bears. For your
cinnamon toothpicks.
For your vinyl of Fly on the Wall.
Okay.
Yeah, some cinnamon toothpicks.
You want to hear something funny?
It's 84 again.
I could walk out to my car right now and come back in with a pack of cinnamon toothpicks.
Are you making them again?
I bought some. No, that's the thing. So, for those that don't know, 3 or 4 episodes ago, it was our 1984 episode. We were reminiscing about 1984.
Yeah.
And that brought to mind cinnamon toothpicks because I remember literally making my own and listening to Grace Under Pressure and Peace of Mind, which came out in '83. But
yeah.
with cinnamon toothpicks, you know, and so it just brought it to my mind. So I looked them up on eBay or whatever.
You found some?
I found some and I bought some.
Oh my God!
Here's the thing: they were like $3.
Wow.
And they came. They're fucking horrible.
Well,
you know why? Because I didn't make them myself. I didn't douse them for like a week.
Oh.
You know, they're terrible.
Did you get some nunchucks at the same time? That was also the shit at the time.
Yeah, so
my friend Mark, who owns Specific Studios here in Tacoma, I record bands there once in a while, and I told him about our funny thing about cinnamon toothpicks, because I said, "Do you remember that phase, man?" He goes, because he went to Curtis. He goes, "Oh man, I was the kingpin." Like he was making them and soaking them forever and trading people for like albums and stuff, or like quantity of these like highly doused, I'll use your word, toothpicks. Like it was a thing.
So the thing to do back then was buy your own cinnamon oil in this little like a vase.
Yeah.
And you put the toothpicks in there, and you let them soak, marinate in there, and then you pull them out days or a week later, and they are potent.
Yeah.
And they sting you. They actually kind of make your lip numb as they're resting on your lip. The ones I just bought don't do that.
What a bummer.
It's just like I put like 3 in at once just to get kind of a taste of it.
No pain?
No pain at all. You want that pain.
You know, when we were kids, we got cinnamon toothpicks hanging out of our mouth. And I swear to God, I see like 12-year-olds with like e-cigarettes these days. Have you seen those like kids? It's like,
no, man.
Hey, man.
Go back to toothpicks.
Go back.
You won't get cancer from them.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
Just get some sores in your mouth.
We're at flying the wall.
We're flying the wall.
So I wanted to mention...
videos are silly, but
super silly. But I got my first job the right around the time this album came out in '85, and I remember buying it with my own money. It was a big deal, and it was like just to hold that in my, even though the album cover's kind of dumb, I think. But, to hold it in my hands, I bought this with my own money. And
it doesn't look dangerous. It looks like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Even though there's a song called Danger. Yeah, it's very Looney Tunes.
And it is a great album. It isn't bad.
Wait, let's show
I just like Flick better. That's all.
So, he just mentioned the videos. There's like Fly in the Wall, Shake Your Foundations, Danger, and Sink the Pink.
Sink the Pink's great.
If you put the videos on, it's obvious they were filmed like the same day or maybe the same couple days.
They released a video EP.
Yeah.
Which a lot of bands were doing.
And the videos
stuff like that.
Kind of dumb. This was them entering the MTV age.
Yeah.
Because they did videos before this, but it was all performance stuff.
Yeah.
I think Flick of the Switch had some like rehearsal like type footage.
Yeah.
The videos are dumb. Like watch Sink the Pink.
I didn't go back and look at the numbers, but I bet you if I were to guess, even though I like Flick better, the numbers, I bet you anything this album sold way better.
Probably because of the MTV.
It wasn't quite so self-produced, right? And they had these videos in MTV, so it's probably was a...
That would be interesting.
Kept them afloat.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it sold
First
better.
album with Simon Wright on drums, by the way.
He's great. He's great. I liked him.
Yeah. I loved Sink the Pink when it came out. That's why I bought it.
Yeah. My favorite songs on this album are kind of on the Who Made Who.
Okay, yeah.
complex.
Which we're going to get to.
So, I kind of put on Who Made Who more.
I'm not crazy. This was produced by Angus and Malcolm. They got, Mutt Lange was gone by this point. I'm not crazy about the production. Brian's vocals could definitely be louder.
Yeah, it doesn't sound perfect. It's not perfect.
Yeah. But again, the video for Sink the Pink. So, here's the thing. There's this woman dressed in pink playing pool in this honky-tonk saloon. And in the middle of it, she puts her pool stick down and starts dancing.
Yeah.
And there's, AC/DC's doing their thing on stage. They're doing what they always do. But it's just kind of dumb. I'm sorry.
They don't know. They probably hired a videographer with ideas and...
Yeah. He's like, I'll make this incredible.
They're thinking AC/DC.
It's David Mallet, actually.
AC/DC, like, it's kind of like stuff you want to crank up in a bar. It's bluesy. They're thinking how to make something worked for them videography wise.
Yeah, they're like, this guy worked with the Thompson twins. He must be good.
Is it?
No, I'm just saying.
Did you look up that fact?
No, I know it's
You
David Mallet.
nerd.
David
Oh,
Mallet
okay.
is the director of these videos.
So how about if I pick the next one, since you got to pick all the other ones because we had the same.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
What's our next one? All right, I'm taking over.
Yeah. This is your number 11.
Out of all the ones you've mentioned so far, this is the first one. When I see it, I go, "Oh yeah, put that on." I put it on regularly. It's a great one. It's got like DT. It's got some kind of like a couple things that are kind of instrumental.
DT and what's the other one? Towards the Chase the Ace.
And they're cool.
The thing with DT,
Where else are you going to get an instrumental?
DT is an AC/DC song without vocals.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to it. You can hear the verse. You can hear the chorus.
And he
And
had.
it's good.
This is when he had like the longest hair, right? He had
Oh,
he had longer hair.
Watch those videos in the mid '80s. Angus had hair down to here.
Yeah.
It looks almost awkward because you know now what he looks like. I preferred his hair in the '70s when it was like,
Yeah.
Highway to Hell cover, that kind of.
Yeah. Mid-length rock and roll.
But let's tell the people what this is. It's a compilation and a movie soundtrack.
Maximum Overdrive.
Stephen King.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is weird too. This is the only AC/DC compilation in their heyday, which is weird because most bands put out the greatest hits right away. You know what I mean? Couple albums in, they have some hits. Here's the greatest hits. Not AC/DC.
And this was big at the time.
Oh, huge.
I think that this was, after the two albums before this, I'm guessing this was a huge step up probably in sales for them.
Oh,
'Cause
Who Made Who was a big single.
I remember seeing the, yeah, that's true. You know what? And it's a very majory kind of poppy song, but I love it. Kind of like Turbo Lover. Although Turbo Lover's got a darkness to it. But like, this here, 86, same era. I think Who Made Who's a great tune.
Oh,
It's a go-to for me.
It's kind of like their, for lack of a better term, their Lick It Up. It's so simple, it's good.
By the way, I'm sorry about all these little tiny CDs here because look how small they are.
Look
because
at that.
I only have certain albums because in the recent like 5 or 6 years I acquired all of the remastered discs and I am gradually working on vinyl, but do I even have any vinyl that we've mentioned so far?
No.
But we'll hold some.
That's classic stuff. Can I see that for 1 second?
Sure.
So the first and only time I've seen AC/DC was on this tour, 2 miles away from here at the Tacoma Dome, with Queensryche on the Rage for Order tour opening up, and we met them previous at Tower Records.
Kind of a mismatch.
But still good.
Style-wise.
But still good.
There was usually 3 bands on the bills back then. Was it only Queensryche?
It was only Queensryche.
Wow.
But listen to this. It's a compilation, but Who Made Who, You Shake Me All Night Long, which,
Which I could take off.
Yeah,
actually.
there you go. DT, that great instrumental. Sink to Pink, which is weird because that was on the album that came out a year before this. Isn't that weird they put that on there?
Yeah. Well, it probably just... I don't know. It's not really a greatest hits. It's just an album to put these songs
These are
on.
songs used in the movie. But it's
Are they all used in the movie?
I couldn't tell you that, but this is a soundtrack, so...
Yeah. It is.
You
Is it
know,
really?
Right On, Hell's Bells, Shake Your Foundations again on the album before this one. Chase the Ace, the other instrumental for those about to rock.
I watched the movie recently, or I tried to. It's okay. It's pretty bad, but kind of funny. And I made it about 3/4 the way through, and I don't know if I heard all these songs. Oh.
Yeah, well, technically it's not their greatest hits, but it's a compilation of, for the record, I guess there's one Bon Scott song on here.
Right on, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it, though.
Yeah, it was big. There was a lot of Who Made Who cassettes rolling around. Everybody had that.
Anyway, great compilation, or movie soundtrack, whatever you want to call it. 3 new songs. Who Made Who's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We love it.
What do you got next, bruh?
I have this next.
Do you really have that next?
Yeah.
I have that there because I have it next.
Okay, so here's the deal with this. When this came out in 84?
So that's 5 albums in a row that are identical that we...
Very similar.
Was once something flipped? No, it was exactly the same.
Okay.
Right?
Well, no, because I haven't got to Who Made Who yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When this came out in 84-ish,
Mhm.
85,
Yeah.
84-ish, I bought this from Columbia House. Well, let me say, I bought this from Columbia House
Never
Records
paid?
and Tapes. Probably still owe on this one.
Probably still.
They're still after me.
Uh-huh.
I'm still on the run. Bought the vinyl. And, you know, I do love it. Don't get me wrong, all these albums are good. But there's only 6 songs. They're all previously released. I guess at the time, for me anyway, Jailbreak wasn't, because that was on an Australian only version of one of the early albums. And I think so was Show Business. But and Soul Stripper as well. Soul Stripper's great. I love
Soul
it.
Strippers, absolute classic.
Yeah.
And 74 Jailbreak.
Yeah. So those 2 songs alone put it, you know, not one of my
Those
least...
are worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah, right
though.
there.
Yeah. So here's what I don't understand about this. Soul Stripper and Jailbreak. Why would you...
I don't
Okay, they didn't put them on Dirty Deeds. They didn't want to put them on the original American versions of, like High Voltage. Like, what the hell? Those 2 songs are really, really good. You're telling me they hung on to those songs for like 6 years or something? Why?
But what a treat for us fans to finally get them.
Yeah, it's like, wow, these really, really killer Bon Scott songs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for those songs to come
Killer
out
songs.
last as the absolute bottom of the barrel leftovers on this when it finally came out in 84,
Yeah.
it's like, what? That's just ridiculous.
Made for great posthumous music, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they kept putting out awesome Bon Scott stuff every couple of years.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
But those
So-
songs rule.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The other 3 songs don't live up to that.
They're okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty good.
But, you know, it's just an EP, so it can't be too high up on my list, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that was his...
Baby Please Don't Go is pretty fun, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his number 10.
It's my number 10.
And so we'll go into my number 10, which is Who Made Who, which we just talked about.
So now it's back to me.
Yeah, so
I love
right
the
back
way
to you.
this comes right back. So what do I have next? 74. So, oh, you know what I get to do? I get to hold this sucker up. Bam! It's bigger than me. High Voltage. Maybe it should be higher. Maybe it should be up in the top 2 or 3 even, because like this is the start of it all, and they delivered right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not going to say too much about it just because when it comes up on my list, I'll mention it.
you want to talk about it twice?
Yeah. Well, I'll have my opinions on it.
But it's got like 4 killer songs. Just 4 killer tunes that are still on radio today.
Hmm.
And it's raw. I mean, it's raw as hell. There's some really raw guitar sounds that are, you know, mid-range crazy and stuff. This isn't Mutt Lange production, that's for sure. But killer. I almost want to put it up on the list more, but
Side 2 isn't as strong as Side 1. Would you agree?
I try not to judge that too much because this is really a compilation. So
True.
It's an interesting thing, but I do like the American versions way, way better, just because I think they start out with the right songs and end with the right songs. It's how we know it, of course. But how would this record have been if it had Soul Stripper or something on there? Like, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's killer though.
Exactly.
Killer album, and the album cover too.
For
I mean, that
Jailbreak.
really starts it all right.
I mean,
there.
why can't you put Jailbreak in instead of Little Lovers? You know.
I love Little Lover. Little
I mean,
Lover's great, but yeah,
Jailbreak's better.
it's a deep into the album song though.
Yeah.
Like keeps it going, but yeah. So, anyway,
Yeah. High Voltage.
High Voltage.
Oh,
That's it for me.
Quick fun fact.
Uh-huh.
Well, a couple quick fun facts for you people. The chord progression on High Voltage is A, C, D, C. Get it? No, it really is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, another fun fact for our Australian fans. In
Uh-huh.
Australia, it's pronounced Akadaka. That's how they say it.
Say what?
AC/DC.
No,
Akadaka.
no.
I swear to God. It's all over YouTube. Or Wikipedia.
For real?
Yeah, Akadaka.
Akadaka?
Don't ask me why.
Akadaka? But
Akadaka.
there's no.
I don't get it
vowel
either.
after-
Hey, and they're from Australia too. Does that mean they refer to themselves as Akadaka?
Yeah, they've never.
Yeah.
No. We've heard them in interviews say
Yeah.
that's what AC/DC's all about, and it's never Akadaka.
Well, I'm just telling you what Wikipedia told me. So, I would love for some Australian
Sounds
mates
like a
out
Steve
there.
Miller song or something.
You did.
We're on like number 9.
You did
right?
High Voltage, number 9. So
Mhm.
my number 9 would be
Your number 9 is
my first
Dirty deeds.
full length Bon Scott album.
Dun, dun,
Sorry, Ira. I asked him before I left the valley.
You did? Okay.
This is his favorite. You know, this came out in '76 in Australia, where they call it Akadaka, but this came out in '81 in America. Why were they holding off so
I
long
know.
giving us Dirty Deeds? The song
Yeah.
is one of my favorite AC/DC songs.
Yeah.
I know Love at First
And
Feels.
Love at First Feel. Yeah.
and
Half the
yeah,
album. Killer.
Problem Child, but that was on Let There Be Rock.
Mhm.
Big Balls.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what I mean?
When this album came out, it was killer. It was just I think anyway, from what I remember, it was just as big as the Brian Johnson albums at the time.
Oh no!
It's
See,
huge.
that's the thing. That's why they released this in '81, because AC/DC were the biggest thing in America at the
Yeah.
time, rock-wise, and they were cashing in. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. But it's amazing, and you know, just because I have it at number 9 doesn't mean it's not good. you
Oh,
know?
AC/DC's pretty big this year. I guess we'll have to put out that album with a bunch of huge hits. I
Yeah.
guess if we really
Let's
have
give
to.
America Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Jeez, whatever.
Oi,
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
yeah. Trademark
Um,
stuff happening on there.
The reason why I have it at number 9, you know, is there's a couple songs towards the end that don't really grab me.
Yeah,
But it's amazing. Kind of looks like a Devo cover, don't you think?
yeah, yeah,
With the
yeah,
yeah, great though. I have a feeling you're gonna be talking about this soon, so I'll leave it up.
yeah. You never know. So my album for number 8 is
Oh,
Dirty
imagine
Deeds.
that. What do you have to say about
so
it?
everything Jason just said. I just love that Akadaka album.
Okay, so my number 8 would be the live album, If You Want Blood. Now, there is nothing wrong with this album. It's fucking incredible. It's in your face, raw, great songs. You know, I'm just not going to put it above these amazing studio albums that we have coming up. Because everything after this, everything we're about to talk about,
How do you even pick?
Yeah, it's like,
just ridiculous.
come on.
Yeah.
To say they were on a roll is an understatement. But this album is a great document of the times. 78. Just absolutely amazing. Look at that cover. You know, and there's what happened at the end. You know. So, you know, Riff Raff, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. Bad Boy Boogie.
Bad Boy Boogie and Riff Raff, I mean, they're really going on there. That's
Oh, yeah.
why this is up a little further for me, and I had this one when I was a kid, and it's killer.
I'm not going to mention it yet because I will, because it's the first song of my favorite AC/DC album. Is my favorite AC/DC song, and it's on here.
Yeah.
A live version.
Ooh, so now everybody knows it was before this album, though.
Yeah.
See, you
Oh,
gave
yeah.
it away.
Oh, they were like, it's not Back in Black. Come on.
Jason.
Anyway,
Rookie move.
great album. Great album. That's my number 8.
Okay, so next, do I have this on vinyl? Do I? I don't. Do I? Let There Be Rock, Killer, 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 and I don't even know how to really put things in order after this.
No, you
It's-
can't. But
yeah.
we did.
Yeah, we did. When you got to do a ranking, and the reason why I guess I would put this not higher is because it is raw. It's almost more raw than the albums that they recorded before this. It's pretty damn raw. It's pretty screechy in the guitar department, and I think the next album was cleaned up a little bit more, really forceful still, but a little more tidy with the recording. And then Mutt Lange was the album after that, of course. So this is the last one that's really this raw, and I do love it. It is kind of noisy.
Yeah.
It's a raw album, but
We're going to, yeah.
got trademark AC/DC songs, killer. I like the recording of some of the songs a little better that are on the live album you just mentioned. But that's Let There Be Rock for me.
Yeah, you know I'll be listening,
You know you're
talking
gonna
about
need
this
that
soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 7.
And when I was a kid, I always thought it was a live album
Oh yeah, no.
because it
Seriously,
looks
me
like
too.
a live
Me too.
album. You know,
Me too.
like how many live albums do they have?
They only have one in this 15 years we're talking about. My number 7. This might
All
be
the way
this,
down to number 7.
This might be controversial. Yeah.
I'm mad.
is well, yeah, here we go. Now, don't get me wrong, people.
Hater.
Incredible album. We're talking about the top 7 AC/DC albums. They're all going to be incredible. For those about to rock, Evil Walks, Snowballed, love that song.
Yeah.
Inject the Venom, talk about it. Heavy blues.
That's a great pocket.
Yeah.
The recording of the album too.
Yeah.
Word
Oh, look
is-
at that. What a gatefold. Look at that. I want a poster of that.
The story goes something like Mutt wasn't really happy with it, and he made them go to a different studio and re-record it, or a lot of it, again. And they were kind of burned out, and they were kind of, I think they kind of wanted to be done with it. But it wasn't, it didn't really have the feel, I think, that he wanted, that he knew it could have, I guess. So they went through a lot of trouble to get this album recorded the way it is. This is what I've heard over the years.
Mm-hmm. Put the finger on you, let's get it up.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, it's amazing. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, this is why it lacks. It's fucking amazing. It's just, I think there's 6 albums better.
You're a bad boy.
Yeah. So, AC/DC for those about to rock, number 7.
So next up for me is Power Rage, and this is some people's favorite. You know, that's your favorite. For
Wait,
me-
I never said that.
For me, the recording isn't. It is raw. It is raw, but it isn't as raw as the couple albums before it. It's killer. And, you know, it's them in their prime. All right, what do you got?
Okay, this might be, you know, a little taboo for the people out there.
It's gonna get. This is gonna be a fist fight.
But, Back in Black. Now again, I must stress, there is not one single thing wrong with this album.
Yeah, totally.
It's fucking amazing. Now, sure, we've all heard You Shook Me All Night Long
Every
way
day.
more than we should have.
Still every day.
Okay?
You're gonna hear it on your way home,
It
probably.
does-
If you-
It doesn't mean it's not good.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's kind of like some of those Queen songs, you know, it's like, man, I've heard Somebody to Love a little too many times.
Yeah.
But Back in Black, I've heard probably the same amount, and I still love that.
Yeah.
So, Hell's Bells as well.
When choosing the last 3 or 4 albums, it was a combination of favorites to me, what they mean to me, but also just I'm trying to be sensible. Can I really, you know what I mean? I love Flick. I probably put it on more than most of the albums, but can I really put it as number 1? I can't. I mean, it doesn't deserve to be number 1, you know, and I know it. It's just that I've heard some of the albums a lot. You know.
So, this is when, well, I guess it's their second album with Mutt Lange, right?
This album is so amazing. They continue with the same producer, all the same band. They just went right in the studio and started knocking it out. They got dude from Geordie, or was his name Georgie? Is that the band name?
I thought it was Gordy. I could
Gordy?
be wrong.
So they get Brian. He's a totally unassuming, cool dude, and they make one of the greatest albums ever made. And it's just, they call it Back in Black after he just died. I just think it's amazing that they continued with this singer from this other band, picked up right where they left off and took it even further. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. How many bands survive that? You know, not very many.
I just want to say, first of all, could this be none more black?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
second of all, let me put my love into you. Now,
Not right now, Jason.
no, wait. Isn't that about into her heart? You know, a heartfelt sentiment?
That's what it is.
Okay. Now, that was one of the Filthy 15. Remember that? The Tipper Gore?
Yeah.
This is the song, not Let's Get It Up or, you know,
Dude, giving the dog a bone, I mean, that is pretty
Let me
brutal.
put my love into you is a beautiful sentiment.
I
Come
don't-
on.
I don't know how they got away with it. You know what I mean? They're just young boys being crazy, but I mean,
Great fucking album.
yeah.
I mean, just the album, the song titles alone. Shake a Leg, Shoot to Thrill, What Do You Do for Money, Honey? Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. They wrote, from what I read, in like 20 minutes just to finish off the album. You know, great album, iconic. This has sold 31, 32 million copies for a reason. Think about that. You know, this is I think it's the highest selling hard rock album of all time.
I love that they started it with Hell's Bells. A slow start, but just slow and brooding, and that tempo that just grinds. So killer.
Yes. Amazing. It was. I'll be honest. It was hard to put it where I put it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just love these other albums.
It was hard for me to not put it as number one. Also, a lot of times I'll start the album with Shoot to Thrill. Also, that Shoot to Thrill. Hey, Iron Man knew. It's in the Iron Man movies. It's so funny that they became like the Iron Man band. It's great.
Yeah, there were probably 5 or 6 songs from this album that Seattle radio played constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, quick fun fact, Peter. You'll be interested to hear this. AC/DC were so big that when they came here on the For Those About to Rock tour, they played not one night at the Seattle Coliseum, not 2, Peter, not 3, 4 nights in a row at the big Coliseum in Seattle. And I'm guessing they were all sold out. So how cool is that? They were huge in Seattle.
Yeah.
Huge. So I like what you're holding right now because this is going to be the album I talk about next as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this for me? 3, 4. So this is 4 for me. So Flick, year after I got those first few cassettes. In the meantime, I got a real boombox, a Sony with detachable speakers.
Yes, detachable. You got them.
I'm going to paint this picture. I might have explained this on one episode earlier, but picture this. Picture this. You're living in a place called Spanaway. And you're walking down the street.
I live there too.
You're walking down the street with your friend Rob. You have your boombox.
Wait, Sanasi or Shalansky?
Zanassi.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll watch this episode. You're walking down the street with your boombox on your shoulder. You're playing Flick of the Switch cassette, and your friend pulls up in some beat up fucking Camaro or something. Brad Knapp. Most people watching this probably wonder who Brad Knapp was, but he was our bud. He was a couple years older. I traded him my, very intelligently, I traded him my flip-top Master of Reality vinyl for his Bark at the Moon cassette.
Wow.
I mean, I love both, but you know, it's a silly trade. Now that flip-top Master of Reality is worth some money. He pulls up, literally, I'm listening to Flick of the Switch with my boombox on my arm. I think I might have even had gray parachute pants on. It's like real early 85, maybe late 84. And just like total Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And guess what's playing on the radio? Did I tell you this? He's playing Hair of the Dog. It was just the most Fast Times scene I ever actually lived out in my life.
And it was normal to you then, though?
It was. It was just, I had on my little half shirt that probably was an AC/DC shirt or whatever. And it was just the times. You know, he was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
That is one of the coolest stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right on. So about the music on the album.
Yeah. Anyway, the music, Flick is great from start to end. Every song just pounds away. They produce it themselves. And even the videos are very down home. Them just in a rehearsal place, just playing.
I was watching those.
And I love them too. But I mean, they're simple, you know. But Flick, I've always thought Flick was really high on the list for me just because I got it when I was young. But over the years, I've realized it's very, very solid, very killer tunes.
We've talked a lot, and this was my next one, my number 3, so we're just both talking about it. So we mentioned Seattle radio was all over AC/DC.
Yeah.
But this is one album. Yeah, when it came out, they played, you know, Guns for Hire.
A little bit.
A couple other songs.
Yeah.
But they didn't overplay the stuff, and then they just stopped playing it.
It's because there were no hits.
So the thing is, they stopped playing it. We didn't get sick of these songs or anything. It was like the album to keep listening to.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this album so much. It's like the title track is top 5 AC/DC song.
But they are great songs.
Yes.
And cool lyrics, cool song titles. It's them at the top of their game. All it's missing is Mutt Lange. And, you know, Mutt Lange would just be this guy that said, no, we need a little more top on the snare. Or, you know, or how about a little more tape on the snare over here? Or the, you know, the guitar. We need to change.
He was too busy with Def Leppard.
We need to change the mic position and just get a little warmer tone. He just did stuff like that to just control them to get the best out of each instrument and the recording of each instrument. And he's that guy that would say, I don't know, Brian, maybe do your vocal one more time, or maybe we need to double this or do a fifth up here or whatever. He was that guy that, you know, just produced it and said those simple little things that somebody needs to say, because when you're a band and you're way inside the song, and you put it to tape, you think, well, there's the song. And it's like, no. There's just, a handful of little things, just a little EQ on the bass or whatever it might be. And he's the guy that knew how to. He's the guy that people like Def Leppard and AC/DC and Foreigner respected enough to let him tell them what to do. There we go. So we're back. The camera fell and we fixed it. And I was just saying that Mutt Lange ruled, and you said he sucked. And what happened then?
I didn't say he sucked. Not at all. He's not Bob Rock.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mutt Lange after AC/DC went to do Def Leppard, and he had some great success in there.
He did High and Dry, so that's it's in the middle of.
The best Def Leppard album.
Well,
what? It's not yours?
It is, but Pyromania also. Both those albums, you know.
I thought you were a Adrenalize guy.
Well, Pyromania is very perfectly chiseled, and yes, it's kind of a pop record, but there's some heavy killer stuff on there, Stage Fright and whatever. And I know it's cool to like High and Dry more, and I kind of do, but Pyromania is, I mean, I got that for Christmas '82. It's not just nostalgia either. I put it on now, and it's a tie for me, High and Dry and Pyromania.
It's funny that they started working with Mutt Lange to do High and Dry, and there's a lot of AC/DC influence on that album.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
But one more thing I wanted to say about Flick of the Switch, which was, it's my number 3.
Yeah.
It's his number 4, is Badlands. How awesome of a track is that?
For me, every song is so good.
Yeah, but you know the riff in Badlands, the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, does that sound kind of familiar?
That's
like
a
a Gene Simmons riff that he likes to recycle?
You know, like what, Burn Bitch Burn or something like that? Or
No,
what does it sound like?
I want to say Only You when it gets rocking towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
And then he used it for a Black and Blue song, Nasty Nasty. But anyway, it's kind of a common riff. AC/DC do it very bluesy.
There's nothing wrong with Flick. It's really actually perfect. It really
10 songs.
When you listen to it, it really doesn't quite shine like the Mutt Lange albums. I mean, it's close. I think it's pretty close. They probably learned a lot from him for recording with him since '79, and it is super good. But Mutt Lange, a guy like Mutt Lange, can bring, or Buhill or whoever did, like Out of the Cellar and Invasion. These guys that did these albums. These people that did these albums, they knew how to get punch out of the kick. They know how to compress things in a way where you put it in the car and you really crank it up. It doesn't sound bad. It sounds better loud. Like someone needs to know how to really shape things. And Mutt Lange did that for them for sure.
Without a doubt.
He made Foreigner 4 sound amazing. Although they went poppier on that album. But like Urgent and stuff, there's some great stuff.
Kind of like Def Leppard. He works with them, they go a little poppier.
Yeah. Then they go Hysteria, and they never come back from outer space. Did they ever come back from outer space? They're still out floating out there, aren't they?
They're out there in the ether.
So but killer album. I put it on all the time. Flick.
Oh, absolutely amazing. And again, not overplayed, which is probably why we like it so much.
Yeah.
Again, I just have to stress it. The title track, one of the best AC/DC songs ever, with Brian Johnson.
Landslide. Every song really. Yeah.
Yes, amazing.
Who's next? Me? You?
You are next because that was my number 3.
So I'm number 3. So there's this little rare album called Back in Black. I kind of like it. That's my whole review of it right there. We talked about it. It's killer.
We love it.
Can't really be beat.
Can I see that stack of CDs you have
what
there?
What you got?
You? There we go. Right there, people. Okay, so.
This is your number 3?
2.
Number 2?
We're up to the top 2.
We're almost done.
So let me just stress this right away. This could be number 1. But it's not. Okay. This album has the best flow of any AC/DC album. Okay? It probably has the 10 strongest songs, and you might be wondering, why isn't it your number 1 then?
Because you've heard it a lot, obviously, right?
Some of the songs, yes.
Highway to Hell.
Thanks for giving it away.
You don't always have to hear. Did you not hold it up yet?
No. It's Highway to Hell.
When Highway to Hell comes on in the car, I love it, but I don't always have to let it play. You know what I mean?
No, I've never got sick of that one, though.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. Highway to Hell is the ultimate album opener. So, we had a DJ, a legendary DJ in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Steve Slayton. And his famous introduction for these guys all the time, like say Highway to Hell would start,
Uh-huh.
then he'd say, I don't know their name, but their initials are ACDC, and the song would keep going.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Phil Rudd comes in, and we haven't mentioned Phil Rudd yet. Oh my God, talk about solid, man, and Cliff Williams for that.
So
matter.
that band we had at the Valley of the Night, he books a show occasionally in the club I work at. Bill Wells drummer. He reminded me of Phil Rudd.
Yeah, Steve Gale. Oh, big time during that one song. Yeah,
He's solid as hell.
yeah, when they rock out.
And
there you go.
Conviction, and he just is really solid.
He plays with Ken. He's Ken's
Does he
drummer.
remind you of? Oh, he's Ken Stringfield's
Yeah.
drummer.
Mhm.
Oh, it's making sense. Yeah, he's on a level. I thought. Does he remind you of Phil Rudd though? a
Yeah,
little
well,
bit?
big time. Yeah,
Yeah,
big,
me too.
No, I've always thought that.
He's got a sloshy hi hat like that too, but
Mhm.
really firm with his snare. Nice. He knows how to whack the snare.
Mm-hmm. Great band, the Old Wills.
And the guy that knows how to whack it, that's my kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Highway to Hell, the ultimate album opener. But here's the thing. When I say this album has a flow, that song ends and Girls Got Rhythm starts right in there. You know,
It just is built perfectly with the different tempos they have.
The whole album
Girls Got
flows
Rhythm.
like
Beating
that.
Around the Bush is amazing.
All the best albums, whether you want to say Abbey Road or whatever, they flow nicely.
Yeah.
And this album flows better than any AC/DC album I know. And let's talk about Night Prowler for a second. For you true crime fans out there. You know
True
what I'm
crime fans. Yeah.
Um,
Some stuff happened.
So Richard Ramirez, who was known as the Night Stalker, he should have been the Night Prowler though.
Yeah.
Down in Southern California, used to drive around in the early 80s, murdering people listening to this album. In fact, he used the song Night Prowler as inspiration, and he even left or disregarded his AC/DC ball cap at a crime scene once.
What?
Yes,
I didn't
Richard
know that
Ramirez. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. This was his album, to drive around and kill people too.
I sleep in the. That's just bizarre.
And I want to
So
say,
ridiculous.
can we talk about this album cover for a second? I love how Bond is smiling. You know what I mean? He's just like
Yeah.
total cheesing it up.
Uh-huh.
Great album cover. Of course, that's superimposed with the devil's tail and the horns. Because I've seen pictures. I like how Cliff's looking over, like, hey, remember me back here?
So it was 84, so that means I was 11. And my grandma purchased this for me for my birthday. That's a cool grandma.
Oh yeah.
Because
definitely.
AC/DC were in the papers for stuff like that at this point. They
I
really
got-
were.
Let me tell us a similar story. In 1984, my grandma, my
Uh-huh.
dad's mom,
Yeah.
bought me an album for Christmas. No, 83. This is 83. And I open it up. I'm like, oh, and then, you can tell it's an album. Come on. I open it up. Yeah, what's it going to be? It's Lionel Richie. Now, I know you like Lionel Richie, and
I
there's nothing
love
wrong.
Lionel.
There's nothing wrong with Lionel Richie, but I was a 12-year-old boy. I was a 12-year-old boy with hormones,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to hear Dancing on the Ceiling.
Was it Can't Slow Down? Which one was it?
The one where he's sitting in a chair.
That's Can't Slow Down.
Okay.
Ooh. You are the sun. You
Exactly.
are the rain.
So,
that makes my life as foolish.
I have a distinct memory of taking that back to where she bought it, Kmart,
Really?
and picking, another album of equal value,
It was
right?
this?
No. It was
Where's
ZZ
this going then?
It was ZZ Top's Eliminator,
Oh, okay.
which is, I hope you would agree, way better.
No.
To me, it
Better
is.
than Lionel?
To me, it
This
is.
is apples and
I
oranges.
love Eliminator.
Oranges
love
and apples,
Eliminator.
bro.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my grandma buys an album for you story. But his grandma bought this for him,
Yeah.
so that's cool. But yeah, Love Hungry Man, Shot Down in Flames, that's in my top 5 AC/DC songs. Beating Around the Bush, Touch Too Much,
Uh-huh.
great backseat songs.
It's just one song after one
Yeah.
after another. My grandma also got me Pyromania the year before, like I mentioned, and the guy is burning down a building, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
All right.
Cool
so,
grandmas. Cool grandmas. This episode's called Cool Grandmas, isn't it?
Right on.
Am I at my number 1? No, I'm at my number 2. Are we off a little bit?
Yeah, you haven't talked about your number 2.
Yeah. So,
Wow, number 2.
my number 2 is For Those About to Rock
This
because,
was my number 7.
in my opinion, it's like Back in Black, but it's kind of like, it's stupid to say anything really, but for me, it's kind of even better. It's thicker, it's cushier, it's like, it is better production for sure. I mean, but who's to say? There's people out there I hear say they say all the time Power Rage is the best production. I don't really think it is, but it is what it is, though. If I was in a mood to hear some raw shit, it is. It's great. But Back in Black, it's a great recording, but this is just a little bit more produced for me, probably perfectly produced. And then after this, what they had to do to get this, they probably didn't want to deal with all that again. They just want to rock. They just figure we're a rock band, we're going to record our straight ahead rock songs, and then they got flicked. But just like Back in Black and Highway to Hell, they're on a streak. Every tune killer. I'm an Evil Walks. There's some really heavy stuff on here too. You know.
I kind of thought that was kind of filler.
You're breaking the rules. Oh God, you know what? The funny thing is, the last couple albums we've done, for some reason, Breaking the Rules would really hit me, and I had it in my sessions to compare to when I was mastering.
Really?
The last couple albums, because I just love it so much. Yeah.
You were making your own rules.
I think it's a class. I think Breaking the Rules could have been a single. I think it's,
really.
Well, when you have these other singles that are so big, who needs it? I guess. But every tune.
Inject the venom. I just want to say those 3 words.
Night of the Long Knives. I mean, it's a heavy record too.
No, it's great. I mean, that was my number 7. The top 7 are.
Yeah, interchangeable. How can I really say it's better than Back in Black? I mean, I really can't. But to me, it's a little bit more of a go-to as an album from start to end. You know what I mean? I get some comps that I use, like for in my car at the club. You know, it's got shit from Back in Black right up at the top, of course. But as an album from start to end, I do love this one quite a bit. It's a great one.
Yeah, I do have to say, so we've done a couple of album rankings so far, and we're going to do plenty of others. I would chance to say that AC/DC might be the toughest we'll ever do, because
it's also good.
For instance, we've talked about doing Aerosmith. Like, if we were going to do Aerosmith, I could tell you right now my favorite. It would take me 5 minutes to come up with my list. Yeah. AC/DC was strenuous. This show has been delayed a couple weeks. We were supposed to do it 2 weeks ago, and it was like, what's going to be my number 3? It's like, man, it's tough.
Yeah. Those
top 7 are like so good. So with that said,
so consistent for like 15 years.
My number 1, Dean. Yes, I agree.
Is that his favorite too?
Yes. Also Shane. Yes, I agree. Rich Robinson of the Black Crowes. I agree. Eddie Van Halen. I agree.
You agree that it's
Power Rage.
It's the cool guy album to pick as number 1?
Yeah, it is.
It is the cool guy.
I'm just jumping on the bandwagon.
But it is great.
No, my favorite AC/DC song of all time, Rock and Roll Damnation. It's trashy, it's rocking. Down Payment Blues is Eddie Van Halen's favorite AC/DC song. I love it.
Really?
Riff Raff. Wow. Sin City. Top 5 AC/DC songs.
And Moon also.
What's Next to the Moon?
Yeah, I love those.
It's your love that I want.
The great thing about this is that they're at the height of their powers, they're matured, but it's not a Mutt Lange album. That's the great thing about it, when you want that.
It's right before Mutt Lange.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's totally them doing their thing. Full power, but without the Mutt Lange, you know. I love the Mutt Lange, but I mean...
Yeah, it's... Peter knows, and a lot of people I know, I'm a fan of rock and roll. I like the Rolling Stones, Little Feat, just rock and roll bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is their most rock and roll album. Yeah, I can't say enough about this. This, Highway to Hell, Back in Black, for those about to rock and flick, came out in succession. Come on. For hard rock heavy metal, I don't think that's ever gotten any better.
For me, number 1 is, of course, the only one left, Highway to Hell, because I think it really is a perfect album. And I think them with Bond was absolute perfection at this point. And I think the Mutt Lange thing mixed in for the first time here was probably really exciting. And they probably all really affected each other. And, it's a really special album. And just like you said, song after song, and the right tempo comes on, the right feel, the right key change comes on the next song. And there's no filler, so...
You could really hear the Mutt Lange touch and, say, touch too much. Like, when that comes on, it's like, whoa, AC/DC never sounded like this. This is really good.
And admittedly, I'm putting on different albums most of the time, because this was one of my first ones, and you hear a couple of the songs so much. But I have to put it as number one. Just I think it's probably the most iconic one. And a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Bond guy and all that Brian Johnson stuff," and I'm really heavy on Brian. But I have to even say, Highway to Hell, this has probably got to be number one. So.
Yeah, it's my number 2, but it's 1B really. You know what I mean?
It's a 1B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
right there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So yeah. I mentioned my favorite AC/DC song. Do you have a favorite?
I think Sin City. I think it might be Sin City.
Which is on my favorite.
I play that probably the most at the club between bands. You know.
Yeah. So
What a powerful tune when that kicks in.
Yeah.
But how can I have a favorite? But that's probably my number one go-to for a lot of different settings.
My top 5: Rock and Roll Damnation, Sin City, Problem Child, Dirty Deeds. You know, and wow, there's so many after that. It's like, you know, wow. They're probably all Bond songs though, the top 5, you know. What's Next to the Moon, I think, is great. That's an underrated song.
It is.
That might be their best deep cut.
Yeah, it was never going to be a hit single, but it's
Might be
killer.
the best deep cut.
Yeah.
What's Next to the Moon?
Yeah.
Anyway, that has been our AC/DC show for you all. Let us know your favorite AC/DC albums, you know, songs, eras. You know, Brian, Bond, let us know. You know, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, you know, because according to the YouTube stats, 75% of you haven't subscribed
That's
yet.
what Beato always says.
Yeah. Okay.
You might be interested to know that only
Yeah.
45% of my viewers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, AC/DC, I have to say, you know, it's about 3 weeks ago now, we came up with this idea to do the AC/DC ranking. I don't even know which one of us it was who came up with it, but I'm glad it happened because I've listened to these albums constantly for like 3 weeks in a row, and
Yeah.
it has really elevated my my love for this band, even though it was huge to begin with. They're incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of rock and roll. I'm a fan of good riffs and, you know, cool lyrics, especially in the Bond days, man. There's some cool lyrics. Great band.
His wordplay is unmatched. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like David Lee Roth. If there's a breakdown in a song, he's going to be
He's
saying
gonna be
something.
saying something.
And
Yeah.
it's usually not going to be some, you know, cheesy stuff like Roth would say, you know. Yeah. So Bon Scott, rest in peace. Malcolm Young, rest in peace, man. We love AC/DC. Glad you tuned in.
And next, this Friday, I'm seeing. You know, I might see Iron Maiden tomorrow. I might try to pull it off. I think I could maybe fit it in. Friday, I'm seeing Malmsteen though, and I'm gonna get a little bit of footage. And we probably won't do an episode on it because he's not a huge fan of Malmsteen.
I mean, I don't dislike him.
I definitely want to talk about it a bit. Probably up front on our next
No,
episode.
yeah, up front.
Do a mini review
Mhm.
because I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. I'll be seeing some friends on Friday night play. That's gonna be cool too. But yeah, hey, we appreciate you tuning in. I'm Jason, Peter Tejan, people. Thanks for watching.